BSdiscover. What's up, y'all? Did y'all like I hope you liked my video yesterday. Well, today, you know what? I'm going to get right into it. You know what? There's a lot going on. I know I've been bringing you some reaction videos on parasites, Decepticons. There's people who understand when you're connected and you're moving forward, you're going to come across certain people. You're going to come across people that you're not willing to sell your soul to do certain things. And even though these parasites at times will get to you, as we learn, they get to you by drinking. If you drink, if you smoke, if you're out there partying, if you fall asleep, if you just, in the company of people. You never know who you're in the company of. And I'm here to bring you and continue to make seeds. Like, I have younger generation following me now, so I know the seed is being built, and I know that people are learning, because nobody wants to sacrifice their life. Nobody wants to sacrifice their family, friends. You have some family members that do. One of the things that I'm learning, that you have a lot of people that get threatened, and family and friends, so you start to pay attention to them, how they react. What is their behavior? Is their behavior different? If it changed from the norm, it's a possibility that they are being threatened. So therefore, you got to walk alone, because you're not afraid. Threaten me, I'm fitting to tell on you. But a lot of people don't have that spirit in them. They don't have that faith in them. They don't have that strength in them. And it's hard even talking to you now, because I see the threat. I mean, people, they have to come near you, and they will secretly threaten you, But you can't be afraid. You can't be afraid. You can't be afraid. They'll say things to show that they're about. Act like you don't hear them. Act like you don't hear. I don't hear you. I don't hear what you're saying. You say something I don't hear. But you put a hand on me, I got proof that you put a hand on me. That's the difference. You can say all the words you want to say, or put a hand on me. They ain't going to do that, because they don't want nobody to know. So they try to get to your mental. They try to break you down. Either do smoking. So if you're a smoker, I'm talking about weed. If you're a smoker, they're going to want to invite you to smoke, but you don't know what they got in that weed. And I'm not saying to go smoke weed. It's a medicine now for a lot of people, and it helps a lot of people through depression, through hard times, through anxiety, and it helped me through anxiety, especially during an accident. With medication, I got a scar on the mind that you see from time to time, would not help me. It would be more addictive than what the weed was. So I had to actually pray to God and say, God, help me receive this medication. Plus, I joined, we the people was going at the time for medical marijuana, so I made sure I joined. And doing my thing, to represent, trying to stay on the right path, even though it may seem like we're making wrong decisions. We're not. We're making safety decisions. And sometimes, truly, we have to do what we have to do to survive, because we know the enemy is right behind, trying to change who I am, and what I stand for. We're just everybody trying to do what is right, And it's amazing, because upon my journey, I've been around a lot of rappers, and now that I'm in New York, now I see why people came from Florida, where I was, to New York, because they were having a lot of support by people in New York. And sometimes it'll be the people who are next to you in another state building something for themselves in another state. But not until you get there will you find out what is actually going on. These are the parasites. These are the people that are using you as a host. You are now a host. Like they said, you have now slept with somebody who probably was in that type of world, in the dark world, who blessing them that you didn't even know, you know. And we come across them people. We do, every day of our lives. And, you know, people come to me all the time trying to tempt me, trying to sleep with them. I had all kinds of, they tried to tempt me. I wasn't tempted because that's not my character. But they were testing me. You know, people will put rumors on you, so they try to test you by the rumors. And you have to prove who you are. You have to show who you are, you know. But upon this journey, the only reason why I'm coming with this tape today is because, you know, I didn't understand why so many people from the dark side was coming to me. But see, in the dark side, isn't that where the people come up? In the club, in the music industry, they get clubs, they rent it, they start singing songs. There was a lot of people that came to me, and I didn't understand. They would come to places that I will be. I don't want to say too much. But they would be in places that I will be, you know. And I would see them, they would tell me what they saw on the dark side, that they were afraid. Like one lady, this girl came and told me how she was afraid, you know, of the churches that they have. I didn't know that they have churches after the club. Some of the club people built their own church, the dark side church. And with his dark magic and other things going on. And one time she told me how she went to somebody's house. And what made her afraid was she was in a room and there was dust somewhere, like, you know, like dirt, dust, dirt. Let me see if I can pick up something since I'm out here. That's probably why I'm out here. You know, like dirt. Let it fall. You see it falling? So there was dirt, like it looked like dust, she said. Let's see, okay. That's a little bit of grass in there, but you got the understanding. There's a little grass in there, but you got the understanding. And she said when she saw the dust, she was at this person's house, the pastor, the one who preaches, and he took the dust and he spread it around the room, threw it up in the air. And everything in the room got up and moved around. And that's what she told me about the dark side. I don't know why she shared that information with me, but now I'm in New York and I'm hearing about rappers, even female rappers, coming out with other rappers that been in your state, you know, but they all represent one uniform and the dark world. So my theory in believing they had to be in a dark world because of the things that you was going through, you know, but you survived, you know. They couldn't break you down or tear you down completely. But you did not know that these people were after you in that sense of form. And at the time that you were helping a lot of, you know, people in the community, especially children, you know, I used to play basketball with the boys in the community and the girls, and just to keep them out of trouble, you know what I'm saying? And that was what I did because I know the community, I worked in the community, and that's what we do. That's how I can give back. And other people see that, and they don't like that. They of the dark world. They want these kids to go out there and do things they shouldn't be doing. And the crazy thing is, you know, I'm hearing about, you know, how, you know, they're devil worshippers. And I kept saying devil worshippers. But I didn't know that because I didn't say it until I heard a church mention it. Kept saying devils. I said, devils? I said, I know I'm not no devil. But they were saying it, but they wasn't saying it. They knew, but they wasn't going to tell you. You had to figure it out. So not until I get into New York, you know, everything's happening, everything's popping. The music industry is popping. I got a lot of friends in the music industry. And there were some rappers that I helped, you know, and they were around me. They ready to do another show, and now I'm in New York. So I already have people in New York that want to help me get some rappers on the platform. And it's just the things that you learn, but people will use you as a host before you even understand what is going on around you. Like, why is everything changing? Because they're trying to use you. They're trying to use your energy. You attract a lot of people. You attract a lot of children. That's what they want. If I bring you, I'm going to bring the children close to me. I'm going to bring the people close to me. I'm trying to take that attraction off of you and build it on the dark side. But if you are in the light, you will always shine no matter what. You know, so I'm just reminiscing through this video and bring understanding. Like, I see a lot of things. I see a lot of symbols. These are signs that are shown at the dark side. I'm not going to say anything. I guess I got to start saying that, because when I start saying it, dark side come out a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of signs that you're going to see. And them signs are going to be noticeable. I seen them in Florida, in certain areas, and I see them here. Certain statues, certain markings that they represent the dark side, or represent what they represent, which is their strength over your strength. You're going to see them symbols. You're going to see them in buildings. You're going to see them in the architect. You're going to see it in stores. You're going to see it in schools. I done seen so many signs, but it depends on where you at that you see the sign. You know, where the power, where the money is, where the money may not be. You're not going to see it there. Trust me, you won't. You're always going to see it where the money is. But you will never see the money step on stage and put a mic to them and sing a song, but they will have control over them, you know. And I guess that's what these ladies were letting me know. And I started to meet other people of the dark side, but they came to me first, letting me know some details. I guess maybe it was a warning that they were coming. The next thing I know, the rappers came around. I was in college then, and we had some rappers that were in college. We had some people and started businesses with their family, because their family had the money, you know, and they started businesses. So this is how you also learn how the dark side continue to succeed, because they get to open up businesses. But it doesn't mean that you're not going to open up a business. It's just that you have a different frame of mind, a different energy behind you. It's not of the vampire energy. I call it the vampires. People who worship the moon, you know, they talk about people who worship the sun, spiritual soul. I did a video on that, and you can look at that one. I think about 3 videos down. And where you speak of people worshiping the sun, but I found people who worship the moon, the nightlife, and the vampires. And I would say this because it's strange, because I know one area I was in, it was downtown. I was downtown Florida. And I saw the people was in a house, right? I was at the park. There's a park that I go to, I frequent, that a lot of homeless people go to, that because they have homeless shelters in that area. But I wasn't living in a shelter. I was living in an apartment. But I go play basketball in that area. And I know a lot of business people there. And I'm learning about the vampires. And I'm thinking, because in this particular house, somebody dated somebody who lived in this house. And one time I saw people coming out with shades on, with hoodies, because they can't be exposed by the sun. Those are the ones, you know, they have to be watchful of the sun. Then you got the people of the moon. Oh, they could be around the moon, because the moon is what makes them. And I thought about that person. Like, could that person have been a moon person? Could they have been coming out at night? Because whoever it was, they were talking to this person, and the person was drunk, and they would say, oh, you should never be drunk. But they covered the person with a sheet, the whole body with a sheet. And the person, like, I don't want her to see me. I don't want her to see me. And obviously this person knew how I was, but they was hiding this person from me. And they walked the person into the house. And I was like, wow. But I never thought about it until I did the video, but how deep it is with people who worship the sun and worship the moon, and why we are interchangeable at times, why it seems like there's always a square box that keeps us inside, like somehow we can't come out, but we can. It's just the power, the people, the riches, the promises, and everything that was made to them that they're willing to do whatever to receive. But with a chosen one, we wait. And we wait for the right time, the right opportunities as we learn, because it's a lesson for everything, you know. And in this lesson, I am learning there are people out there that really worship the dark side. People I didn't even entertain, you know. And that's crazy because there's a lot of rappers, such as, they talk about Tupac a lot. They talk about, I think, Big Punk. Well, it was a big rapper, a Big Joe. It was two of them. I was in a shelter in New York. I remember I went to court, and I ended up in the shelter because I had to go to court and I needed a place to stay. So I was in the shelter for a day, and the shelter I was in was where, right here in New York, and I went there recently. I think it's on Franklin, where Tupac stood, because there's a lot of rappers that don't sell their souls, and they go through the transition of being in the homeless shelter, you know, because they don't owe anybody no money. They don't want to owe anybody anything, and they're surviving. And we all know Tupac was a poet, as well as a rapper, as well as other things, the Black Panther family and everything that derives with his past. And a lot of people are bringing him to life, but not with the right mentality, because they didn't really know him. They know nothing about him. They knew nothing about him, but what they want you to perceive him to be, so they can act like they are a part of him, but they're not a part of him. And in the shelter that I spent the night, they was like, you know, you slept in the same spot that Tupac was in. I just like felt something, and that day I felt different. But it's also exposed to me how people in these businesses, because there was a man there, and he deal with rappers. So we don't even know, a lot of counselors, because I used to counsel, are dealing with these rappers, are in touch with people, but they never tell you about the dark side. I done heard people who came out of the dark side telling me things. Why aren't you sharing that information with me? So it makes you question a lot about what's going on. And that's why I always stress to you, there's good and bad ways of getting a business. Just because a business is formulated don't mean it's a good business. It could be made in a bad way. They could have killed somebody to get this business. There's people who put people on drugs just to get their business. Business owners. If you want some type of drug, stay away from the drug man. You know, there's been pastors, and I can say this now in this video that somebody shared with me, that even probably smoke crack before they start preaching. Listen, don't preach. Pray to God, let God work on you a little more. Because if not, that guy's more in control. The dark side is more in control because he's somewhere talking about it. And that's what makes you look bad. So that's why we are chosen, because we stand faithful in standing up. You know, and that's why they come against the church people and the secret society people are in these centers, they're in these places. And I'm not saying that the council and they were a secret society. What I'm saying, somebody knows somebody that knows somebody. You don't know the secrets they had. You don't know how they was going to come against you, you know. And I mean, this guy had a beautiful house, tourist house, you know. I don't know if it's look as good as because I have an ex who was in a movie here in New York City called Chicken. And I remember when he became famous, started making his money, he moved to his apartment. Recently after my accident, right before I came to New York City, at least a year and a half before I got here. And because I came to fight a case that I won in court. And he showed me his new apartment, you know what I'm saying? Bad high rise, bad, nice neighborhood. He was telling me how, you know, be fearful because people gonna try to rob you. You know, he was big in the neighborhood. People tried to rob him. They ain't rob him then. But when he got better, you know, not rob him physically, but try to take things like in his house, try to think, you know, if he leaves something outside, they'll try to take it, thinking it's making him bigger. No, it's not. It's exposing who you are, because it allowed him to come to a better place that they can't even get to, you know. But I was there. And these are the things that we are recognizing, that I must be recognized, and I must recognize what is real and what I see, that there is dark entities. You know, I even was going to do a videotape somewhere, and I was like, no, it's too dark. The dark entities are here. You know, you be around them, you could tell. You know, so I said I got to remove myself, bring myself out in the light, you know, and have my vibrations right with the earthly creation that God made. Isn't out here to harm us, but out here to give us the air that we need, the oxygen, the carbon dioxide, everything that we need to breathe, you know, or not to breathe, whatever you want to do. But, you know, it's quite inviting, you know, and you're winning. The only reason why you see these things, because you're above, you're winning. You're winning. And you're taking people they know away from them. And that's what makes you special. That's what builds seeds. That's what keeps seeds going. So I hope you understand why I had to do this video, because it was heavy on my heart, like what is going on now. And I hope you continue to watch my channel. You know, I hope you like the videos that I put out. I hope you see why we go through what we go through. We're always chosen. We're always surviving. But even in the places that we survive, we do go through, you know. But it's a new enlightening details. And I have to shout out to the ladies who came out of the dark side and shared the information. And for me, giving warning to the business people in the community, be careful, you know. The first thing they're going to try to do is smoke the drug around you. That have happened. I'm like, ooh, that don't smell right. And at one point it was cigarette. God would have cigarettes smell sour to you. And it's only because I had a ex that smoked cigarette all the time. So people ask me, do I smoke? And I used to buy cigarettes, but not for me. I used, you know, when they send you to the store, I brought a cigarette for my ex because I was not a smoker, you know. So God is showing me, you know, and the dark side, but they will never succeed in winning over the good children. That's all that matters. That's why the chosen is here, you know. So I want you to just sit back, meditate, enjoy what we're giving you. I don't know what I'm going to be doing, but if I do end up to do a show with them, you know, there's so much I couldn't expose, you know. The chosen, we're always winning because we're always in the light, you know. We're always shining. Even when you think we're not shining, we're shining, you know. But the thing is, how they try to dim your light. They will try to dim your light. Business owners, people in rap, people in R&B, people salsa, we ain't gonna leave that out. Merengue, we ain't gonna leave that out because it's music. That's the devil's invitation. You know, that's where he invites a lot of people and use a lot of people. But you gotta be strong. Why entertainment? I like to entertain people. That's me. I like to make them happy. I've heard a lot of stories. you know. But I see where people try to draw you away, but it doesn't mean that you are left behind. They want you to think you're left behind. You're not left behind. You're growing. You're learning. You're exposing. And then you learn when not to expose, when they get kind of too close. But guess what? You're not alone. That closeness is to keep your mouth shut. Do you understand? Because it's real. It's that money power, you know. They're trying to change the dollar to a digital currency. That's crazy. We in a trillions of dollars of debt. Over 33. And all of a sudden you could change it backwards. But let me have $1 million in the bank. And let me psychologically try to change that to digital currency. Tell the bank, you know what I'm saying? We got to feed this. Are you understanding how we're being fed? But we got chewed up because of the control. But every controlled issue is temporary, not permanent. And as long as we have that, we have life. So stay with me, be with me, divine with me, learn with me, inspire with me. BSdiscover.
Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah.
I'll see you soon. I'll see you soon. I'll see you soon. I'll see you soon.